All right, we are back with another installment of How Should I Introduce You? I am Silas Grant, and I'm losing count right now. I think this may be installment number 10, I think, between myself and two people who I know individually, but they don't know each other. And my goal with this, for those that are watching, is to maximize and optimize my contact list. And my goal is to influence other people to do the same. We're in this pandemic right now, and a part of the inspiration for this concept is how do we network during this period of time where we can't get together? How do we strengthen relationships? How do we introduce people? How do we make our tribes and our circles more powerful? And using technology like YouTube and Zoom and Skype and all these other ways of connecting is vital and essential to the success of us growing our tribe. So I've got two great people with me today, two great friends of mine, two people who essentially have taken their personal fitness and health and leveraged that to be stewards over the bodies of other people. And they're helping other people get better physically and mentally. And I've got Leon Bournes here as well as Marcus Taylor. So for the both of you, man, welcome to How Should I Introduce You?
Thank you.
Good.
Appreciate you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So this question of how should I introduce you is important to me because oftentimes when we introduce friends to other people, we take it upon ourselves to assume that we know how a person wants to be introduced. And typically what I do is I ask the guests to send me something in advance to give me an opportunity to know exactly how they want to be introduced, but I'm going to change it up a little bit this time. I'm going to let you guys actually speak to how you want to be introduced. So Leon, I'll start with you. How do you want to be introduced?
Well, I want to be introduced. My name is as Leon Bournes, Washington, D.C. native, born and raised in D.C., just a guy from the area that loves the community. Also the owner of Bourne Fitness. I've been training people since probably about 2009. I'm a lifelong athlete, somebody that just loves to do adventurous stuff, but also support and uplift other people through fitness as well, because that's always been my way of creatively expressing myself through recreation and through sports. So I want people to know me as, the fitness guy and person that's helping uplift and make DC a happier and healthier place.
Good stuff. How about you?
All right. Well, name is Marcus Taylor. Silas knows me as Kojak. In the Hampton together. See, I've been training since I think it was actually my sophomore year at Hampton. So 98, 99, something like that. But I'm the co-owner of Petworth Fitness, formerly CrossFit Petworth. I'm also the head strength and conditioning coach at Gonzaga. And, got a ton of different certifications and a lot of stuff. But mainly one of my things that I really enjoy when it comes to my profession, and one of the things that I really hopefully it shines through in the profession that, I've chosen, is the fact that I love the fact that you can just teach people just to be better, or you can sort of add to somebody's just you can add to somebody's mental Rolodex of what they can actually do. Because a lot of times people come in with preconceived notions of what they can do, but when you show them, I have confidence in you, I know you can do this, and they do it, the next thing you know, you open up a whole new world to them. So I just love the fact that you can, in the profession that Leon and I were both in, that you can kind of open that door for people.
Yeah, good stuff, man. It's funny. So a couple of things out of those introductions. One, as you said, Marcus, and this is kind of difficult for me calling you Marcus.
Yeah, man, it's wild.
Call you Kojak, right? But if I were to see you in the street and I was with a coworker, obviously I wouldn't say this is my man Kojak, right? So, introducing people is something that I think is a make or break in many instances, and having a respect for people and the multifaceted approach that they have toward life, right, is really, really important. And then also, Leon, as you mentioned, you want to be known as the fitness guy, right? That's something that you just stated. But as Marcus and I, when we were talking before this, when we were setting this whole thing up, I was explaining to him, like, what I don't want is to walk down the street, see somebody and say, "This is my man. He the fitness guy. He the fitness guy. He the fitness."
Right.
That may not be one what you want to have your introduction led with, but then secondly, that's not totally all of you either, right? So, I think for me, it's just important to be respectful in that sense and to give people space to be more than just what I know them to be. And with that being said, I've known the both of you for a long time, but I haven't known the both of you your whole lives, right? So my first question to the both of you is, describe who you were in the third grade.
Third grade, man.
Well, me in the third grade, I was, you ever seen Tasmanian Devil?
Yeah.
That was me in third grade. So in third grade, man, I was very, that's why I say I was very active, because, one of the catalysts that led me to just be more into sports was the fact that my parents, the teachers at the school, told my parents that I needed to be more active outside of school because I had too much energy in the classroom. Like, I was all over the place. So third grade me, I was very just joyous, playful, loved playing football and, running around and being outside on the playground. And that was me, man. That was me. Wild thing.
I think for me, like third grade, I was trying to think, man, the only thing I was into was just video games and going outside and playing basketball and football. Like it was those three things right there. That was it. Like we had a little basketball court in my grandparents' backyard. So people just come over, we just shoot hoops or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. I mean, I didn't have any other, I didn't have any idea like what an adult did. You know what I mean? I just know like, I just know like my grandfather left early in the morning. He came back and he started, my grandfather, he had a bunch of bonsai trees and koi fish. So you come home and do that. I'm like, okay, I guess what an adult does. Like, I don't want to do that right now.
So that's crazy. The bonsai trees though?
Yeah, man. Like he had a green thumb, man. Like it was just, like he would do stuff crazy. Like, so he had a house in so the house that my grandmother grew up in Caroline County, Virginia. They tore that down and put another one up. So they just had a ton of land. And I remember one time in particular, like we were coming back home from, checking out the house, and he just saw like, it was like a little tree, pulled over, grabbed it. Next thing it was a bonsai. Like,
what?
Yeah, man.
He knew what it was when he saw it.
No. It's so here's the thing: is that like bonsai is more of an art. You know what I mean?
Right,
so like you can kind of turn, you can take any sort of tree and then make it a bonsai tree. So like he just saw one, he was like, okay, I like that one right over there, and he just picked it up and just put in his potted it. And the next thing you know, it was one of the trees that he had outside. I mean, if I can send you a picture, I'll send you one. But he had like, I'm telling you, like, I mean, said we had a koi pond on the side yard, like everything. Yeah, like he was like that was his thing. That was his piece. It's crazy.
That's interesting, right? Because just the both of you being in fitness, and you obtain clients, and as you develop a relationship with a new client, if it goes the right way, my assumption is that it's almost like that bonsai tree as you described it. Like you can shape it into what it needs to be, right? And my question to you was like, did he know? And you were like, nah, he doesn't have to know. It's really up to him to kind of shape, what that is. And like when you all work with clients, like I know it's difficult, but how difficult is it to get that through a client's head that, I can really help mold you if you just follow the instructions?
I think one of the things that you got to do, like the very first thing you have to do is like, you got to earn their trust, right? You got to like when you first initially meet up with them, whatever it is they wanted to sort of say to you about their body or their performance or whatever it is, you got to just let them just get it all out, right? After they get it all out, you absorb all of that and say, look, I've heard everything that you said, but here's how we're going to do this. You know what I mean? Like, let me walk you through this entire process. You may not understand every single step, but I'm gonna try to help you understand as we're going through it. And don't just show me like a picture of somebody that you want to look like. Like that's them. That's not you. So it's just, again, getting their trust first. That's the big thing. And then, constantly giving them like that soft touch and in reinforcement as you're going through different training sessions. Because one of the things that like I love when it comes to training is the fact that there are things that are measurable, right? So if you have a movement like a deadlift, okay? So if I start you off at 95 pounds and the next thing you know, in 3 months, you add 205. So you went from 95 to 205. So you can take that home with you. That's sort of a tangible thing that you can take home with you. And if you show people like, this is sort of the process, and you see your numbers go up, and as those numbers go up, you can see those are things you sort of take pride in. And if you take pride in it as a trainer, and, as their coach, they're going to take even more pride in it because they see that, oh, you followed, like I followed something that this person gave me.
Yeah, in my experience, definitely when you're starting off with a client, a lot of times they don't really know what they want to do. I mean, you have some clients who are athletes and stuff like that who have specific goals, like, oh, they're training for a marathon or they're doing things like that. Most people, they know that they need to work out, but they don't know what they need to do, or they don't have the confidence to step outside of like their normal routine to actually achieve the goals that they want. Because I know Marcus gets this all the time when you talk to people and you're sitting down at initial consultation with them. A lot of times they'll tell you they do X, Y, and Z, and they
Yes.
working out and they're doing this and doing that. But we know as professionals that a lot of times people aren't doing enough, and they're not changing it up or adding different aspects that are going to push their body to a different stimulus, right?
Right.
So what I do with my clients is, first of all, I try to let them know that the most important part of the process is not the vanity part. So I try to ask them, like, what is your ultimate motivation? Like, why are we here? I know looking good is one thing, fitting in. If you get married, you want to fit into a dress or a suit. But like, what's the long-term benefit of this fitness thing? Like, this is a lifelong, we want to be living a lifestyle, the best lifestyle that we can live long term. So I try to talk to my clients a lot about motivating yourself from seeing the numbers, like Marcus said, because people do want to see that progress especially when it comes to lifts and stuff like that. But I also try to let people know that you need to go off a feel, right? So if you know that you just ran, you just worked out, and you go eat that burger, you're going to feel tired, you're going to feel sluggish afterwards, right? And that's not going to benefit you. So when you start to be more aware and make that awareness known for your clients, or how they can be more aware of their body and how their everyday actions are affecting their progress, if they're taking because once I know that you're really motivated, then it's not going to be hard for me to tell you what not to do, because you're going to want to reach your goals, right? Yeah. Because a lot of times people, they say they're motivated, but it might be, like he said, a picture of, if it's not something deeper than a picture of Rihanna, you want to look like her, then, or this dude or that dude, you're not going to work hard enough to get the results that you really want. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be deeper than skin deep. So I really try to, when I want to connect and get clients to think of it outside of, because a lot of times they may look at a YouTube video and somebody's, sprinting. They looking at people's run times and they running at 8 minutes and this and that. I try to take them outside of thinking about what other people are doing and say, all right, how can we? Because everybody's body's different. Everybody's process is going to be different, right? So if we can mentally just start to understand that it's about more than the skin deep, then a lot of times people realize that this is much more important, and they start to develop a habit that is going to affect their life long term, and they look at it as more than just, they look at it as something like going to the doctors or like brushing their teeth. I gotta work out, and that's the point.
Yeah.
That's how I try to work and get my people, my clients, into the mindset of this is our lifestyle. Not just for going on Cancun trip or this, that, and the third. Once people understand and get into that lifestyle and they feel good, once they stop working out, they know that they haven't worked out in a week.
Right.
And that's the perfect part. When you get somebody to that point where they feel bad for not working out in a week, or they feel bad for, like, not just physically but emotionally, they like, damn, I should be in here, then we've done our job. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then we give them little tools here and there to help enhance their training and do some things and take kind of the guesswork out of it. But I feel like what me and Marcus do is really change mindsets, man.
Yeah.
Like, really change mindsets. And once you do that, man, even if they don't train with you or they not working out with you, they're going to take that and they're going to just keep on doing it. So,
like, one thing I tell people all the time, just to piggyback on what you said, is that, like, is the teaching people, and even if they're not going to train with you, at least they know. Because here's the thing, is that, there's no patent on a push-up. I say that all the time. There's no, like, there's no patent on it. No one owns the rights to a push-up. But if I teach you how to properly do it, when I'm not around, now you know how to do a push-up. Oh, I taught you how to do something. So it's kind of, what's that old adage?
And then they have confidence that they can actually do that.
They can actually do it. Exactly. And then it's like, you may give them little tips like, hey, make sure, you're not letting your lower back sink, like little stuff like that. So now they know, like, yeah, I can't let my lower back sink because, coach said that. And then, like, oh yeah, I feel the difference. So again, it's you teaching somebody how to fish versus just giving them fish. You know what I mean? Actually, you're doing both at the same time. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. Like, I'm going to walk through this process with the end goal that you can actually do it on your own. But here's the one thing, is that, like, everybody should still have a coach. There still should be somebody that you sort of check in with. Like, hey, because what ends up happening is, this happens to me, this happens to everybody. You get into, like, whatever you're good at and you want to stay in that lane. And instead of always being in that lane, you need somebody just to, just to check you real quick, like, hey, how about you do this over here, and push you in this other avenue.
I tell people that all the time. Like, that's why, I got into the habit of trying to work out with other trainers as well, and other people, like, because I used to work out by myself all the time, right? And I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was like my time. But I also realized that iron sharpens iron, right? And other people have different ideas onto how to get you past your threshold, right? And I don't know. I'm a competitive type person, so when I get into and I'm with some people that I know can get down, I want to push myself even more. You know what I'm saying? And I think that what we do, like what Marcus said, is like when you give people just a little bit of confidence, like you might put a box up there and they might say, well, the 2 feet box is too high, or the 24-inch box is too high. You put that 10. Our job really is to make it more efficient for people to be more confident in their ability physically, right? So you got people that if you tell them to hop on a step and they look at that step, that they in their mind, they just can't do it. And that's literally just a confidence thing. Because once, like you said, once they do it one time, or they, been doing 95 for a month, and then you throw on the extra 10 pounds or 20 pounds, and they don't even know, and then they lift it off the ground, and then they're like, oh, how much? That felt a little bit heavier. How much was that? You tell them, and that one, once you see it, like they say, once you see it, you believe it, right?
Yeah.
You do it. So
And
our
what's
job
crazy
really
is that affects them through that whole day. If you do that, they're like, hold up, their whole day changes.
Right.
They
And then
feel better. They can do
almost
anything.
never have to go back to like reiterating that they can do that.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I think that directly correlates with life, because a lot of times people tell us, business world or college or whatever, you're going to do this, you can't do this, and I know that was for me, growing up, a lot of times, not my parents, not the people around me, but the outside world, you know what I'm saying, the teachers and people that didn't understand that I was active. I was a very active kid. I was this and that, but I wasn't never malicious. I was never really like bad doing a whole bunch of wild stuff. But people that don't love you and stuff, they think, oh, he just bad. He all over the place. Get him under control. But, when you start to mentally, switch that up and start to understand that you have control over how you're perceived and what you can do, then, it's our job to help people take it to the next level. You know what I'm saying? And break out of the mold that people try to put around them, or they even put around themselves about this fitness thing. But I know that it extends beyond just in the gym. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
You're
So
100% correct.
one thing that was said in the exchange that you guys just had was, this idea that people can develop the confidence, right, if they are amenable to being taught. And the one thing that I think as a client, I've worked with both of you guys, that I appreciate the both of you all, I've seen you all explain from a biological perspective the impact of a workout, or what happens if you do it right versus doing it wrong. And then you go work with people who don't have the background or the knowledge. They haven't studied fitness or the body, and they can't tell you. And as a client, that doesn't leave you in a space where you can be confident. It doesn't leave you in a space where you're even confident in that trainer, right? So, talk a little bit about the importance of the education process that you all had to go through to get to the point where you've become the professional that you each are.
For me, what was kind of funny, when I first was getting into training, it wasn't like something that I thought about coming out of school. Like, some people get a kinesiology degree, or they get like a trainer, you can do PT or things like that. When I first went into school, I did like pre-physical therapy, but my thought process was that I love the body, this, that, and the third, and I was going to help people recover, right? But that kind of knocked me in the head, because coming from, the high school I went to and the study process, that pre-physical therapy thing was over my head at 18.
Hey,
as far as
you
like,
were preaching that we in the same boat. I was saying the same thing. Now go ahead and finish. I'm gonna jump on after you.
So I ended up switching majors. I got my sports management degree, but that year of being in that major, it rubbed off. I didn't get no good grades. I had to go ahead and drop it, but some of that did rub off. In full circle, I'm using some of that now. But for a lot of trainers that I know, the process for education is unconventional. You got a bunch of trainers that have degrees and stuff like that, but a lot of times when people get into the fitness industry as a trainer, you're learning off your own research, and basically, like, from other trainers, from reading books and getting certifications, because the certification is going to take you but so far. I mean, especially that initial CPT, that's probably the simplest one to kind of get. And
only thing that does is it gets you in the room. That's it.
Right. It gets you in the room. And then from there, you expand on your knowledge as far as like what you want your specialty to be. So like for me, I started digging right into like kettlebells and
This is the
more
same thing I
functional
did.
yeah, like more functional movements. And just what I knew. So what I did from there is, TRX, they have a certification course. Just reading books on kettlebells, watching, I don't know how many YouTube videos I've watched on workouts, listening to lectures on, different TED Talks, even about, the body. So the process of the education started with that pre-physical therapy because I did have a base knowledge of it. I didn't finish with that, but then coming over, I knew, the parts of the body, anatomy, connection points as far as like the muscles, insertion points, things of that nature. So when I got that first, sat down and started really diving into, because that's really the hardest part for most trainers is knowing the body, like the names and different, because you have to know that when you get your CPT. So that's what kind of set me ahead. But to learn about actually the right way to train people, it really came from watching other good trainers, right? And seeing how they talked, how they carried themselves in the gym, right? Because you got some people, like some of the best trainers I know have never walked into a classroom. You have never, and some of them never came straight from the pen or straight from jail or whatever it may have been. They never had a cert or a degree or anything. But you talk to them about fitness, the body, nutrition, and they know just purely off of reading and education. So that has been outside of getting certified and stuff like that. The most important thing for me has been to continue education on my part, as far as the amount of like magazines, books, videos, small cohorts that I've been a part of, and just start to and really the best teacher is experience. Because at first everybody, I feel like, most people are personable, but you have to learn how to educate.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned how to do over time.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny how like everything you were saying, that was pretty much like a lot of it is like my trajectory into this field. When I went to Hampton, I actually graduated with a marketing degree, and I was like, it was cool just to, train a little bit, earn a little bit of money while I'm in school, and then I'll go about my real life. But then once I actually started, I worked at Amtrak in their government relations department. Then I worked at TSA as a program analyst there. And just sitting down for about 5 years, I was like, I can't do this. I need to do something. So I got to the point where I was like, all right, well, let me go back into training. It was something I really like to do. Let me go back into that. And so once I started training, I said, all right, well, now I was at that crossroads. I was like, all right, am I going to continue training, or am I going to do physical therapy? And so I was like, well, you know what? Let me go ahead and at least make an attempt to do the physical therapy. So I went to Montgomery College, and I took a bunch of all of my core classes that you would need in order to apply to be doctor of physical therapy. Because at that point, you couldn't just be a PT. Like when I was thinking about this is around like 2008, 2009. You couldn't just get your physical therapy degree. You had to become a DPT. It's a 3-year program. So I'm around like 28, 29 when all this is going in my head. So, but I'm taking my classes, like took anatomy, physiology, took 2 of those, had to take psychology, took all of that. I will say though, I did get good grades in those.
Yeah.
But
I love anatomy. The thing that was getting me was the study, like, just to get everything in. Man, that study,
it's hard, especially when you're working too. It was wild, but like, it was because I'm telling you, I feel for people like, who are working, 10-hour days and then have to do like full on school. Like that's what it was. That's what it was for me. And it was like, and try to find a workout time. I mean, like you may get 30, 45 minutes in between clients, or you gotta, you still gotta get all your coursework in. But yeah, so I'm in Montgomery College, and actually while I was there, it's so crazy. So while I was there, taking my anatomy physiology class, and a girl that was in there, she was at CrossFit Bethesda, and she was like, "Oh, let me introduce you to my to the owner of the gym there." So I got introduced to him, and then I started like kind of like shadowing there. But at the same time, I'm actually coaching at this one gym called Body Smith in Wisconsin Avenue. Salas used to come there and take boxing classes. But so I was over there, but then I started getting into CrossFit a little bit more, started getting into kettlebells and stuff like that a little bit more, because the co-owner of that gym, black dude named Patrick, he was in like the 4th class of Pavel's kettlebell cert that's out in Minnesota. And I was like, "What are you doing?" He was like, "Oh, it's kettlebells." So I started getting heavy into kettlebells. I actually won a couple of championships in sport kettlebell later on. Yeah. But it kind of grew out of, well, I'm in a training space with like 8 different trainers, and I've got about like 10 square feet. How can I train people in this spot right here? So that's when I got into kettlebells. When I started interning at the CrossFit gym, I got into Olympic lifting, like a lot. So then I got certified as the USAW level 1 coach. And I took those things, I took the kettlebells and took the Olympic lifting stuff. And I was like, I can for real train people in this little spot right here. I don't need any machines. I don't need any of that. And it made me think at that point, like, I really don't, like, all this complex stuff that's out there is really being dumbed down to, some very simple movements. Is dumbed down to squat, push, pull, hinge. And for the most part, if your program is based around that, then you're doing pretty good. But so like for me, like when I hit that crossroads, it was like, all right, I'm gonna do physical therapy or I'm gonna do training. But if I do training, I gotta dive in. And so I decided, at that point, like, I'm not gonna take 3 years off to go back to school. I said, I'm just go ahead and get in for real, do a deep dive into training. So that's what I did. And, made sure I did, a ton of different, certifications, did a ton of different seminars, work with a lot of coaches just to kind of get the general idea of what their practice is and how, I can sort of check my own practice. And for the most part, I'm not gonna say I've come up with a new system, because again, there's no patent on push-up, but I have my own sort of way to work with people. But the thing I would say that definitely people, when it comes to this profession, it's the thing that gets you in the room are your certifications. Because if you don't have those, people aren't gonna fool with you. You can even look a certain way. People have that perception that if you look like you're, like that you got veins popping out the forearms and all that you actually know something. That don't mean anything at all. So, but if you come in this profession, you need to have your certifications, because your certifications are your resume. This is a different sort of profession. It's not like being a lawyer where you pass the bar. If you have the general person, they don't know the difference between an ACE certification versus getting your CSCS. They don't realize that like one is heavily weighted versus the other. They don't know that. People in the industry do. But I mean, the biggest thing at all, again, the certifications, they get you in the room, and they get you in the rooms that you may want to be in. Like I said, I'm CrossFit level 2. CrossFit level 2, like in order to have a CrossFit facility, you got to have your level 1 certification. But eventually your level 1 runs out, then you have to go and get your level 2 or stand for your level 1 again. So went ahead and did my level 2. And what that certification did was it really like honed in a lot of the stuff that you're supposed to, when you're working with general population people, like gives you like the smallest cues so that you can give any and everybody. So even somebody who is a phenomenal athlete, you can say, hey, your knees kind of dipping in when you're squatting, make sure you're forcing those knees out. It's little stuff like that. But again, getting those certs get you in the room, but you have to be in front of a lot of people. Like, I think for me, going from personal training, having that thought process of like going to physical therapy, learning way more of the body and understanding the body. And then from there, you know, once I turned that switch on to go into full on coaching and training, then just be in front of just a lot of people, be in front of just everybody. But also having my thing in my head, like, I know what these people need to do. These people need to do these. As long as these 4 things are done in every single session, then I know from, you know, professionally that they're well taken care of. But at the same time, if they come to me with certain, you know, certain goals that they want to hit, we're going to address some of those. But at the same time, you got to educate them about what it is that they really need.
Yeah, and definitely, I would say, you know, getting in front of, like you said, getting in front of as many people, because everybody's a little different. Mm-hmm. And I think as I started to train people, what I realized is that, you know, physical therapy, most people get hurt because they're not fit. Mm-hmm. So fitness and physical therapy go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
So most people be like, man, and you know, like, my knee hurts, you know, and purely the only reason why they knee hurt is because their legs aren't strong enough to carry around the weight that they're walking around with.
Right.
So, you know, when I think when we both kind of had the epiphany, like, damn, I can kind of do both, train people and make sure that I keep them from getting injuries or recovering from an injury, right? Because the principles, the body is gonna the principles are gonna stay the same. Like, you know, your elbow is gonna hinge a certain way. Like, you get certain things that is going to be universal for everybody. Right. So when I got into the training field, I really started as a personal training director. So I was more into the sales of it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you remember a brand called Fitness First, and they had a couple. Yeah. They only had like one location in DC, but they were like in Virginia and Maryland areas mostly. And that's when the first time I actually saw like independent trainers working, because they had a deal where like the independent trainers would pay a little higher monthly fee, and then they would let their clients come in, like they would have their clients do a membership, right? And at this time, so at this time, you know, like most of the big gyms, they weren't letting personal trainers in there to train. So it was kind of a unique thing, because I'm working for the company and then I'm seeing personal trainers that have their own businesses essentially coming into the gym every day. So over time, that kind of resonated with me more, because working at unless you own it, like, you know, Marcus, or you're part of the leadership team at these big global gyms, a lot of times they don't really care that much. I mean, they care if you're bringing in the numbers, right? But the turnover, you know, you kind of got to make your own way.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, one of the things I tell people all the time about that is that, like, look, if you're going to, because I try to tell anybody who's trying to get into training, do go to a global gym first. Because the thing I want you to realize is this, is that you are an amenity. You are towel service. That's all you are. You know what I mean? That's straight up it. And you have to turn over so many people, because here's the thing. The attitude of somebody going to a global gym is this: I'm already paying a gym membership.
Right.
So why am I paying more to train with you when I can just do this on my own? So a lot of times what people would do is I worked at real briefly. Like, I worked at a Washington Sports Club because I was trying to get in front of just people. Like, I was working at I was working at this after I worked at TSA. I was working at a PR firm. I was making good bread, but I was like, you know what? I just want to see what this is like before I really dive into this area over here. And when I was there, I was like, oh, these, you know, people, when they come in, they want you to get basically like a workout routine, so then they can leave you and then do it in their own. So you fighting against your own paycheck right there.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, like you are straight up an amenity when
Yep.
you work there. But you know, there's one big thing when it comes to that. Like, as soon as you step out on your own, you know, your Saturdays
Yep.
gone,
Yep.
gone. Don't forget those. Like,
Afternoons, evening
after
stuff, gone.
gone. Don't even worry. Like, happy hour. Don't even worry about that. You're not gonna see me there at all. You know, like, especially like a Thursday, 6 p.m.
Yep.
You
Yep.
can't go. You can't go. You
Bro,
either talk.
and once I saw, like, and that's what was unique about my situation, because most global gyms, they don't allow personal trainers in there. So
Mm-hmm.
when I saw them, I was like, that's kind of what I want to do, because they had their own, like, they weren't, like you said, they weren't treated like an amenity. Like, people were coming in to see
To
them
them,
specifically.
yeah.
That was the only reason why that person was even at that gym to begin
Mm-hmm.
with, was because of that trainer,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then you get more value. I felt like, and matter of fact, honestly, bro, like, you all's gym, CrossFit Petworth, like, I knew of you before, um, like, when you guys were opening that location up,
Uh-huh.
and I saw you as one of the owners, bro. Like, that was one of my motivations too, to open my space up, right? Because you don't usually see uh brothers part of ownership of a gym.
Wow. Yeah.
That's been like a rarity, except more is more and more happening, like in DC and other areas, because I feel like we're getting back to our roots of just being more physically fit and things of that nature. But you never really see, like most industries, it's whitewashed. But
Mm-hmm.
at the global gyms, for real, the people that keep the energy going in the classes and stuff like that is the trainers,
Yep.
is the staff that's in there cleaning it up, cleaning up the
Yep.
gym. And a lot of times they look like us. But
Yep.
then the people that own Washington Sports Club or Golds or this and that, they want to treat us like, oh, we'll pay you $15 every half hour. So you got to get 2 clients in an hour to,
Mm-hmm.
make $30 an hour,
Right.
and it's just not feasible. So it's like, bro, like, once I realized what I could actually, how much more value I could add by actually stepping away from that environment, it
Mm-hmm.
was like a no-brainer. It was
Yeah,
like,
because that gym, what it does is, like, the thing with a global gym, they can promise you, you're definitely gonna have people coming in the door.
right, right,
You know what I mean? So, so it's either you can have people coming to the door and, they may possibly train with you, or, you got to find them on your own.
right, right.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. They scare people, they scare people with that sort of tactic. Cause it's like, if you don't believe in you, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
dang, like, I can't go out on my own. So they kind of prey upon that a little bit, where they're going to keep the good trainers there, because they're afraid to go out on their own. But if you go out on your own, you'd be surprised. Like, a lot of people, they rather fool with you. They rather actually go to somebody who's independent versus just going to a straight up gym. I've had a lot of people even do this. So when I left Bodysmith, and I was coaching classes at,
You've been all over the city, boy.
man, I've been everywhere,
You a
man.
vet. You a vet in this game.
I'm vet, man. I'm a general. Like, I've been in this for a minute, man. Like, once I left there, and then, like, it was a brief period. This good, like, 6-month period where I was just doing my own thing. Like, I was, there was a couple gyms in the area that would come there and let me train, and my clients would just meet me at the gym. I would train them. The gym across Bethesda, where I was coaching at that point. I wasn't a full-on employee, but I was just coaching there. The
Right.
owner, he was like, "Hey, if your people want to come up here, tell them to come up here, and you can train them there. I ain't gonna charge you anything." Cool. So now I got my own, business right there. But again, like I said, like, it's like when you do that, when you step out on your own, weekends gone, middays gone, all of that's gone. But at the same time, it's like it's yours.
Yeah,
It's
you feel kind of like you fulfilled, and it's kind of cool. Man, I got clients, man. I can't,
hey, I gotta go
got some
work.
clients this evening.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, actually having that feeling of, like, this is my work, and
Right.
my other business partner for my gym, Pepper Fitness. His name is Nick. We used to coach together at CrossFit Bethesda. His thing is he always says like it's the coolest thing just to be able to open up a garage doors and teach people how to squat. Like that's what I do. Like that's my job. Like this right here, I'm actually dressed up. Like you know what I mean? It's you crazy.
Got on your work. You got on your work shirt today.
Yeah, it's my work shirt right now. You know what I mean? So it's crazy how how it all sort of like panned out. But I mean, like I said, especially very early on, it's whatever time somebody would see as their recreation time, you're their recreation. You know what I mean? But it's you don't have to be in that global gym sort of environment because how about you step out and do your own thing? You know what I mean? Like now, if they want to train with me, I've got an interpersonal relationship with them. I've known them for X amount of time. If we can just take this party over to this other gym over here, or take it over. Like if they've got some stuff at your house, if you've got some sort of equipment, hey, I'm gonna make it easy for them. I'm gonna come over and see you. We can still do every single thing that we did before. Have all the measurables that that you wanted when it comes to your training, but we'll make it more convenient for the both of us, and it's yours. You know what I'm saying? Like it's Leon, it's yours. Mark's it's ours. It's a better feeling, I think.
Yeah, man. I know because like. And I think I would give if anybody's in the training, like Marcus said, any trainer, anybody who's even thinking about fitness, whether it don't have to be necessarily training, because we got so many other aspects of, of the fitness industry. Go to one of those, use it as a means to an end, right? The old mindset, even, in the corporate world is, I want to stay at this company and they're going to, get a pension. I'm going to be here for 20 years or 15, whatever. We need to start using these businesses just like they use us. Mm-hmm. Get the education. And what I did was, I already knew over time because I went through phases with my company. I went through being membership sales. Then I went into doing the PT sales, right? But then after being in the PT sales and seeing that really it was all about the numbers, and I get it, it's all about the numbers, but at the same time, I wanted to also make sure I was helping people too. Mm-hmm. People in front of you that want to train, that needs a trainer, but if they not willing to pay the extra $250 or $300 that the gym wants you to charge them, you can't really, you stuck between a rock and a hard place. So you're kind of going outside of yourself. So right. What I want to reiterate for anybody, regardless of this situation or what industry is in, is like, use it as a means to an end. So what I did was, those people that I knew needed a trainer for less, I started getting their information, right? The people that I did sign up, I started to let them know, like, within this next year, I'm be bouncing. So once your contract is up, you can come and we can train at a park at your apartment. And like you said, Marcus, that kettlebell and that TRX and body weight
helps you out a lot, right?
All people need, really.
Yeah, man.
And my goal is to break people out of the mindset of, you don't need the gym.
Yeah. And that's what's crazy, is that like people when they see the gym, because I think doctors mess you up, because doctors will, say if you go to the doctor, say if you're a little bit overweight, to say, cholesterol's high, whatever, doctor's like, you know what, you need to start going to the gym. All right.
Right.
That's just a platitude. You know what I mean? You didn't give me any sort of plan. You didn't say anything at all. You said start going to the gym. So
basically they taking their expertise and giving it to us. Right. They saying go to the gym, and really they saying work with a trainer.
Right. Exactly.
Because I can't really get you in shape. That's what the doctor is saying. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it takes, because a lot of these doctors is out of shape themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead, bro. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, because you go to the doctor, they say, go to the gym. They give you zero plan whatsoever. and they want you to go to that person. They want you to go up to the front and just basically say, "Hey, here's my life. You know, save it." You know what I mean? That's basically what they want you to do. But yeah, like I'm trying to think, what was the point? It was something that you said a second ago, and it was just, oh yeah. So you're saying like you were doing sales, and my thing was this: like the global gym environment was never for me because I don't like to sell, because I knew at a certain point I'm just selling something that somebody doesn't really want. So what my model at my gym is, and actually like I very rarely have clients now. Like I've got a couple online, but they've been like straight up like word of mouth or whatever. My thing is this: I can't sell you. I don't like to sell anything, but what I'm telling you is the truth. Like if you do X, Y, and Z, this is what's going to happen. So so if you want to do it, I'm here. If you don't, there's a global gym. You know what I'm saying? You can go over there. And it's work, because for me, like I come out with a clear conscience, because it's like, if they want to roll with me, all right, we can go.
Right.
You know what I mean? We you know, like I'm gonna make sure, again, always go back. There's no patting on a push-up. I'm gonna teach you how to do this the right way. I'm not gonna hold any sort of like industry secrets. Like I want you to do well. You know, when it comes to that, because here's the thing, you know, a lot of people don't even know this when it comes to gyms. And I know you know this, Leon, is that like the gym doesn't want you to go.
Nope.
Not want you to go to the gym at all. They want you to pay. They want you to pay your membership, sign it to your contract, and you never show up. And you never show up. And that's the thing, is that like with your gym, you know, my gym, that's not our model. Our model is no, pay your membership. Is it more expensive? Yes. But
and show up.
But we want you to show up. You know what I'm saying? If we don't see you in a while, we're like, hey, where you been at? You know, I mean, it's that accountability. It's like at those bigger gyms, it's zero accountability, you know, where we actually provide that. A lot of times people, they don't see the value in, you know, it's like they don't put a dollar amount to the accountability that we give them. You know what I mean?
And like you said, bro, like those gyms, people don't even realize that that's the business model.
Yeah.
That's why Planet Fitness is winning right now. Yeah. Because they have thousands of people who never go to the gym.
Never go to the gym.
But they're paying $20 a month and just free money, just handed it to them. So, and that's what working at the gym, man, it never really changed my core. Because I feel like when people go into this fitness industry, they're not going to it with the mindset, oh, I'm just going to sign up as many people as I can. And they really want to help people. They really want to help their clients that they're working with. The money part is because when I first started off, like I wasn't charging no whole bunch of money to train people. And those people that and what I would do, Marcus, was I would meet with those people in the gym, but like maybe like once a week, or like, you know what I mean? Even if they couldn't sign up. And it wasn't my job, because as the director, how they set it up, you were the director, and then you would sell the package, or whatever package worked for them, and then you would put them with the trainer. Like I would have like 5 trainers or 6 trainers that actually work for the company. Mm-hmm. So then whatever trainer I felt like was the best one for them, I would put them with that trainer. You know what I'm saying? But what I would do a lot of times is actually take my time as the director, and those people that couldn't do it, or, you know, was apprehensive at first, give them a few, you know, at least enough sessions where we go back to that education that you confident enough to do these 5, 6 different exercises. Right. So then like, you know, I started developing more relationships with people in the gym. So then when I started transitioning out, it was a lot easier, man. And I really like, see, you started off in that, I mean, you had a stronghold in that CrossFit community, and I really started getting into that training style. I really like that training style too, because it's simple and effective. It's not the way that they set up the workouts, right? It's like you got your AMRAP, or you got your Metcon, or whatever it is that you got set numbers, boom, 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 boom. A lot of the movements are based around the basic ones: push up, squat, sit up, press. right? And then everything else is kind of revolved from that base.
Yep.
So then it gives people a direct line, you know, as to getting into those Olympic lifts.
Yep.
Right. And then other fitness industries, I mean, or personal training and stuff like that, there's no real simple breakdown of how you get from a simple squat all the way up to doing a squat clean or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I love, like, and then the intensity of it where you go hard. Like I'm not a big sit in the gym workout for 2 hours person. I like to get my 45 minutes hard, very, very good work and be done. So, you know, once we start learning how to use, you know, corporate America and use these platforms to better ourselves, so then we can extend out, then we can affect our community, man, at a greater clip, because we have the knowledge and we actually know what the other side, how they're operating, so that we can do the different and fulfill another niche outside of those people. Because we know we don't want most of the people that come to the Global Gym, you don't want to train those type of people. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of kind of working for yourself and working as a you don't have to keep a client. People don't realize that, like, you don't have to keep a client. And it's been situations where you know,
kick somebody out, like, hey,
with,
you can, like, that client may mess up the energy for the whole gym. So you're like, you know what? I got to fire you.
Yeah.
And it sounds crazy.
And if they're not taking on, you came to me for direction, right? And you got these people who just don't want to, you know, do what you say or whatever it may be. But the beauty of being able to control that part of your work, like, you know, those people that, because people can't control who their coworkers are, right? They can't control, like, the client that when you work for a company, if you don't like the client, you still got to stick it out with them, right? So I feel like what we do, and, you know, as far as the fitness and the ownership piece, it's kind of, man, a great representation. Like I said, because I was thinking, I know you go by Chocolate City CrossFit.
I used to.
Yeah, so when I first started, I was like, man, I love CrossFit because it, you know, I was thought about that same name, and I looked it up. I saw you. I was like, damn, somebody already got that joint. But I'm glad that we connected. And then also your cousin has been another motivation factor for me, because DRC, I was always, like I said, I always worked out on my own, always, even outside of playing team sports. DRC was like, after college, that's my next team, right? And it kind of pushed me to get out there and share my passion of fitness with other like-minded people, Black folks, you know what I'm saying, getting us out, moving, and things of that nature. And I think that as long as we continue to encourage each other and keep on creating these spaces that are comfortable and challenging at the same time, where we can see our best selves, man, we're gonna be all right, man.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, for people who don't know, like my cousin is Matt Green. He's the captain and co-founder, District Running Collective, huge run group in DC, and I know a lot of his folks. They on Sundays every once in a while, when, you know, pre-COVID.
We would come over there and work out at the Petworth joint.
Yep, they would come
great
over to my gym.
Location too, by the way, man. Y'all got it decked out in there. Great location. But I love DRC, man. But I feel like, you know, a lot of us have fallen off from our natural activity levels, man. And like, I really appreciate y'all and DRC and CrossFit Petworth. And even myself, I appreciate myself. But
you should shout out yourself.
Because, bro, like, mentally, that movement saves lives. It literally saves lives. I've had clients tell me that they was thinking about killing themselves and doing things of that nature. And once they just get moving, and your attitude, Marcus, when they walk into the gym, the energy that they get from us, you know, and just the environment is of the utmost importance. Like, some people just come to the gym to get a positive vibe. Like, you know, they don't want to go there and work out because they know it's going to be tough. But they walk in and they see Marcus that believes in them and is going to have a positive word to say to them, and not going to be on their back about what they didn't do or what they, you know, what email they didn't answer. It's their time. It's the energy that we give off. And I feel like as long as we continue to do that, man, DRC is just an energy hub. Like,
yeah, man,
it's being around those people. And Silas too, like, you know, just being able to link with you, and then the guy seeing your transformation, right? And seeing you working out and seeing us working together, it's intrigued way more people to, like, even on our block, to come and work out at the gym.
Yeah.
Like dudes that you wouldn't even, they like, man, I want to come down to the gym, but that's because they see you too. So it's all an energy exchange, man. Fitness is, and this health and wellness thing, it's like, yeah, the exercises, it's not, like you said, no patent on the push-up, no patent on the squat. We not reinventing the wheel, but that energy you bring to it is what sets you apart.
Exactly.
And what really makes value, what really brings the value to the fitness and the exercise, it's the energy you bring to it.
Yeah. So I know we're approaching the point where we got to close out, but what I do want to do to close this thing out, Marcus, we've talked a bit about it, and we've kind of teased around it a little bit, but I really want to give you an opportunity to close this thing out with what you've been doing on the social justice front, and just holding the CrossFit community accountable. I know you guys formerly were a part of that community, and you know, for some good reasons, you all had to separate yourselves from that. So I want you to speak about that before we close out.
Yeah. So, so we were CrossFit Petworth, and I'm trying to think. When was it? I guess it was early June, when, you know, everything with George Floyd happened. Our thing was, we were going, you know, I would check out CrossFit's Instagram. I would check out their emails that he would send, and they completely didn't mention anything about, you know, what was going on. I mean, because you got to think, like once that happened, I mean, literally cities were burning, you know what I mean? And you had a lot of different companies, just, you know, and not even trying to just like throw up like the little black box or whatever. You had a lot of companies actually saying something, you know what I mean? Actually, you know, trying to put the sort of like some words out there, and then later on being some action behind it. And the fact that, like, around that same time, CrossFit, they were still like promoting some of their courses. And in the comments on their Instagram and even on their Facebook, people were like, hey, you're going to say something. And just to give people some more background when it comes to CrossFit. You know, Leon, you know, we've been talking about, like, you know, these interpersonal relationships you have with clients or whatever. And with CrossFit is a community, you know what I mean? It's a huge worldwide community. You're talking about over 15,000 gyms in the world. And you know, each gym is not a franchise. Each gym is independently run. The only thing that kind of would link the gyms together is the name CrossFit, but also was a lot of the shared language. You know, it's crazy. Like, I went to a gym for my honeymoon. Went to my wife and I, we were in Rome. Go to Rome, this CrossFit gym there. Everything is written in English and even in pounds. So crazy in Rome. So again, like I'm saying, like, CrossFit is a community. Like, everybody knows what it is. And so for me, especially being in this area, like, there are a lot of Black people that CrossFit. A lot of Black people that CrossFit. There really are. And the fact that, you know, CrossFit headquarters wasn't saying anything, it was kind of like, it's like you slapping me in the face. Like, you know something going on, and you're not going to say anything to me. You know, you're not going to give me any sort of like encouraging words or whatever. You're not going to say that. So it was actually funny. It was like on a Tuesday night, I think my GM, Kristen, she called me, and I've been thinking about doing this because we had already rebranded our name a little bit. We rebranded our name to Petworth Fitness maybe about 2 years before, but we were still doing CrossFit classes and still calling our classes CrossFit. She was like, hey, what do you think about disaffiliating? And I was like, let's do it. And so on, I think it was Wednesday night, we had a staff meeting, Zoom staff meeting. It's like, hey, this is what we want to do. We're just going to completely disaffiliate. And on that Thursday, we sent out an email and said it would disaffiliate from CrossFit. And then Friday, that's when a whole lot of stuff happened with the owner or whatever. But, you know, we wanted to make sure that and it was just basically because of their silence of George Floyd and just social issues. It was kind of one of those things that we felt like it was like we were invited to the party, but they really didn't want us to come. That's kind of how we felt when it came to being in CrossFit. It was like,
they didn't want you to speak. They
didn't
want you
not at all. Yeah, they just want you to come in, do your workout, and leave. You know what I mean? In the meantime, you know, CrossFit, there's a lot of, and Leon, I know you know this, like a lot of the workouts are named after fallen soldiers. Yes. So like Murph is Lieutenant Murph. He, you know, I forget where he died. But that's like the famous workout that people around the world do. But it's named after you know, a fallen soldier. There are, you know, are very few, you know, CrossFit workouts that are named after Black people. And this whole George Floyd thing, and then when we disaffiliated, like a lot of other gyms in this area started disaffiliating. So like my man Jeff, who we were in biology class together at Montgomery College, he owns used to be CrossFit, so it used to be Humble Beast CrossFit. He disaffiliated. My man Josh, we used to coach together at Cross Bethesda. He owns Cross Silver Spring. He disaffiliated, and a bunch of other gyms started disaffiliating. There's a gym out in Laurel, CrossFit Laurel. They disaffiliated. So it was a lot of gyms that were just like, hey, you know what? We just kind of done with this. And I think the thing for me was this: is that there aren't in this area. There are a good amount of Black people that do CrossFit, but I mean, just like globally, not a whole lot. And so there are a lot of people that, and even our membership, we have a good amount of Black members, but you know, Petworth is changing. So we have, you know, it's a huge sort of like melting pot of people. And my thing was this, is that like, if I can just let people know that is in my circle, you know what I mean? People who follow me, people who know me, that may not look like me. I want them to understand like what it is that, you know, people, myself and people who look like me go through. You know what I mean? Like they may not have known any of this stuff. So when I would put something out there like, hey, this is kind of how I feel, they're like, oh, wow, I never understood that. I never knew that. And I think it was just important that, you know, these people understand it. And I think it was like, you know, if I put it out there, the next thing you know, they put it out there to their circle, they put it out there to their circle. And then you just get these other allies just like, yeah, you know, my CrossFit coach, because I mean, as you know, Leon, like when you're coaching somebody, you're coaching a group of people, like you are the authority figure. Right. So, and now since you're the authority figure, if an authority figure steps up and says something, you're like, wow, like maybe I should say something as well, you know, or maybe I felt this way, or I thought that maybe I had this thought one time, and you know, now this kind of gives me a platform to sort of speak for them. So that was kind of what I wanted to do when it, you know, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say it was me. It was the entire gym. Like, you know, my business partners, our staff, everybody, we were in lockstep when it came to stepping out of CrossFit. And now we're fitness. I mean, it's working well. I mean, we're fine. At the end of the day, like it's about the community, and we've changed the energy. It didn't change it at all. Like nothing changed. You know what I mean? And, I'm glad that we did it. I mean, you know, I hope CrossFit is fine, because CrossFit has given me a career, you know, right. It really has. Like, I don't dislike it. There are certain people that are in it that I don't really fool with, but it's just at the end of the day, I still got to give it its props. Like it's afforded me a phenomenal lifestyle. It's afforded me for me to open up a garage door and teach people how to squat. You know what I mean? It's given me, it's fulfilled a dream of mine. You know, I think there's a Tupac quote. It goes, just because we're not friends doesn't make us enemies. I still want to see you eat, just not at my table. And that's kind of how I feel when it comes to CrossFit. It's like, I still want them to do well, but it's just like, I can't rock with you.
Right. And a lot of these, you know, the fitness industry, like a lot of industries, we on the back burner, man. We might be out in front doing the classes and doing this and the third, that and the third, but when you walk into the office of the owners or you go to CrossFit headquarters or whatever it may be, I doubt that you see a large majority of Black folks working at the headquarters or whatever it may have been. And that goes for almost every fitness company in the United States.
Yeah.
Like their core leadership, just like most, corporate America, is not Black. Yeah. But they also need our validation as well, especially at this point, because you have instructors, you have owners of gyms, you have people who are there and providing the service that they want to get across, but you're not valuing what I'm going through.
Exactly.
Right? It's like kind of come in and work.
Go ahead, my bad.
No, I said like come in and work, get as much CrossFit out there, but we don't want to know you personally. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to help you out.
Exactly. Like keep your issue. Those are your issues. It's like, no. I thought we were a family. So like for me, when I would do intros or whatever with new people, it was like, no, like you become part of a community. So when you come into the gym, if someone hasn't seen you in a while, Black, white, whatever, then someone's going to say, hey, I haven't seen you in a minute. Like I wanted you here. Like I'm relying on you to come here. Forget the color. You know what I mean? But for us, it was just like, CrossFit, they just don't have our back. That's how we felt. And I don't know. It's just, it was just something that I think that we really needed to do. Because, there was other stuff throughout the years. Like they did something that I think it was 2016 where for the CrossFit games, they're going to give not an owner. They were going to give the winner Glocks. Like that was part of their, like, yeah, they're going to give you a Glock. They're going to give you a gun if you want. And it was like, what? Now I got to, like my gym is CrossFit Petworth. And then we're going to have new people come in and they're going to associate CrossFit and CrossFit Petworth. And like, so hold up, why y'all giving away guns? Like, no, we are totally separate from them. So it was just like little stuff like that. Plus, I mean, we all born and raised in DC. Guns mean something different here.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. What did G say? Who want to play with guns? We not it. So again, like they were doing something over there and was like, you know what?
Eventually cultural disconnection, bro. Cultural disconnection.
Exactly, and that was the big thing. It was like that. Like we obviously are not seeing eye to eye on how our communities are. Nor do you want to see how our community is. They culturally appropriate so much stuff. Like I can't tell you when Fetty Wap came out with Trap Queen, how many shirts did I see with Trap Queen on? Like, oh, look at my shirt. Like, do you even know what that means?
Right.
You have any idea what that means? Oh, you don't? Oh, you talking about? No, it's not your traps. They talking about the trap.
Right.
Like someplace you don't want to go. You know what I mean? So it's like little stuff like that. It was, like the dude who runs the CrossFit Games, Dave Castro. It was Rick Ross. He actually had one of his trainers was his name is Garrett Fisher. Garrett Fisher
he was doing CrossFit.
Yeah, he was doing CrossFit, and he was like, I call it Rossfit. And what does Dave Castro do? The director of CrossFit Games. At the CrossFit Games, he's got cornrows and he's wearing a shirt that says Rossfit and the R is a gun. Like, you just. This isn't you. Like everything that, we like, it was just wild. So I'm like, we got to get out.
Like, we don't need you to be a character, bro.
Exactly. And it was like, you're making a character. I mean, you're basically like, in a way, sort of,
making fun.
Yeah. Like you, it's almost like blackface.
Yeah.
In a way. That's kind of how it felt.
Right.
And it also speaks to their inability to understand the different levels and complexities of Black people, where they may think that, going back full circle, this conversation is about being respectful of how people want to be introduced. That is not the only thing Rick Ross is, right?
Right.
Just some guy with a Versace shirt unbuttoned on stage, sweating and running around. He's more than that, right? But if that's all you see him for, or if that's how you lead your introduction of him to other people, then that's shortchanging him in a way that I can't tolerate.
Right. And that's how we felt. It's like, you know what? It just wasn't that one thing that with the George Floyd and them being silent on George Floyd. It wasn't, when Greg Glassman, who's the former owner of CrossFit, and he said those, and made those sexual remarks. And it was like, anybody can like read it online or whatever, like made those sexist and racist remarks or whatever. It wasn't all of that. It's like, it was just like years of just like little stuff here and there. And
Yeah,
it's just like, you know,
feel
like
it, man. You can feel when they they don't have no respect. Like, just because we get it, like most of the people, military might be conservative people, but you also have a large majority who aren't in that boat, and
Yeah.
you need to balance it out. Like, you need to understand that everybody does not feel the way you feel, and you need to support those that feel differently than you. Even if you, like you said, you might not totally agree with me, but show me the respect of supporting somebody who's part of bringing you money, especially like putting money in your pocket.
right.
And you just want to discount a whole subset of people. You just want to discount all of these people, and it was just ridiculous, man. It's like,
Hey, Joe.
bro, like,
Hey, Joe, I'll
there's
tell
no
you, like,
empathy, there's no understanding.
there was no understanding. Like, I'm gonna tell you, like in 2000, I think it was 15. So it was like 2 years in a row. The way the CrossFit Games worked, they were actually like, you had to. There was a couple different levels. There was the Open, there was the regionals, and then you went to the CrossFit Games. So for 2 years in a row, we hosted this area hosted regionals. One was at George Mason. Another one was at the Sport and Learning Complex. And you know, you got to have a rack of judges. I mean, I'm telling you, like, it was so many Black people there. So you're like, hold up, you can't tell me that, like, it seems purposeful. Like, there's a lot of people who CrossFit, and a lot of people who volunteer their time to come out here and support people who support this community. But then when a subset of your community needs your support, now you don't lend it.
Right.
And we was like, nah, man, we can't rock with you. I mean, it was sad. But at the end of the day, you know, like I said, the way you look at it is that like, you know, just like you said, Leon, like, you know, when people come into your gym, they're coming in for your energy, and they're not coming in for CrossFit's energy, you know. So it doesn't matter the name that's on the board. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter at all. It's like they're coming in for you.
Yep. Much agreed, man.
Well, guys, man, it's been a great, I guess, experience for me watching you all have this discussion. And I hope that the people watching along with me got a lot out of this. It's funny, I had a bunch of questions I wanted to ask, and y'all were just knocking them out before I could even ask them, man. So I appreciate watching this, and I'm happy that you guys had a chance to meet. I know you all have heard of each other, and you may have.
Yeah, man, we've been traveling around, man.
I'm going to connect with you this week for sure.
Yeah, let's do that, for real.
Because you got a lot of knowledge, man, for me, man. Like, you know, and we got to connect more, and that's been one of my goals and I thank you, Silas, man, for having me on.
Oh, yeah, thank you too, Sal.
And one of my goals is to just be more connected, like network more often, like talk to people, getting ideas, because every discussion, every interaction for me will, like, you know, I'm very auditory, so I might take something like one thing you said and like run with that, you know what I'm saying? But just having positive energy and guys that have done it, Black men who are a little older than me, but y'all been doing this for a minute and like making it happen, making it work. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we don't see that, and I just want to say that I respect you, and I already see you as kind of a mentor on top of that. So I definitely want to connect further. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, let's do that like ASAP.
Sure, man. So that's, you know, this whole thing has been about making connections that, you know, end up being fruitful. So I'm glad to hear that, guys.
That is good.
Sir.
Those who are watching, man, this is what this is all about. It's about making the connections and leveraging and optimizing your relationships and your contact base. So again, thank you guys, Leon and Marcus, for being on.
I still can't get over you calling me Marcus.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Man, I look forward to seeing what you guys put together in the future.
I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
Good
Thank
stuff,
you.
man. Good talking
Much
to you.
love, fellas.
Yes. Enjoy your Sundays.
You too.
All right.
Appreciate you.